Assalamu alaikum students. So let's begin with the question number 5 for standard costing 9706 QB 32. So as you can see that we are given with the budgeted information and then there are the following questions. So let's start without wasting any time. Define the term variance analysis. So variance analysis is the difference between the budgeted and the actual cost. This analysis helps to maintain control over costs for the entity. Then explain two benefits of performing variance analysis. So two benefits. Number one, we can find about the areas of inefficiencies and we can take the appropriate remedial actions to resolve those inefficiencies. Number two, we can analyze our strengths where we have favorable variances and we can utilize those variances for our competitive advantages. Further, maintain the control over the costs as explained here. So I have written three benefits, you can write any two. Then moving on to C, statement of flex budget. 2020. So prepare a statement to show the flex budget total production cost for 2020. So total production cost would consist of direct material, direct labor, and fixed overhead. Okay, so since it's a flex budget, so flexed is on actual units versus budgeted rates. So direct material 7500 units multiply by, if you can see here, 2 kgs into $10 per kg equals to $150. Then moving on to the direct labor. So 7500 units into 3 hours into $15 per hour. So we will get $337,500. Then fixed overhead 7500 units into the rate given, which is $18. So 7,500 units into $18 gives us $135,000. So here 150, 337,500, 135,000. So a total of 622,500 is the total cost of production as per the statement of flex budget. Then moving on to D, calculate the direct material variance. So direct material variance. See, the actual cost was $154,000 and the flex cost is $150,000. So giving us a variance of $4,000 adverse because actual cost is greater than flexed. Then explain the reasons for the direct material variance. Support your answers with appropriate calculations. So 2 marks for each. So number D, part 2. So direct material variance equals to material price variance plus usage variance. So material price variance. See, the total price was $154,000. And if we see, we are using 14,200 kilos. We can see here 14,200 kilos. And what is our rate? $10. So into 10, say $10. So we will get a variance of $12,000 adverse. Why? Because reason. So the reason for it would be the price of the material may have increased. If you can see, we assume that our cost would be 142,000. If we multiply 14,000 divided by 10, 142,000. But instead our cost was 154,000. So we are getting a higher price cost. So 12,000 adverse variance. The reason the price of the material may have increased. Then moving on to material usage variance. So how many were budgeted? See, 7,500 units, and we budgeted that it would take us 2 kilos. We would use 2 kilos. So multiply by 2 kgs. So this would be our consumption. And how many were actually used? 14,200 kilos. So minus 14,200 kilos. So we have used up 800 kilos at the cost of $10, making it as $8,000. So what I have done here, let's understand. See, we have actually consumed 14,200 kilos, and our budgeted usage was 15,000. How? 7,500 into 2 kilos. So in actual we have used less, and in budgeted we have used more. So a net difference of 800 kilos extra. So this is the savings. So if we see that we have saved 800 kilograms at the rate of $10, so 8,000. So our material usage variance equals to 800 kilograms savings multiplied by $10. So giving us $8,000 favorable variance. So the formula over here, the DMV equals to MPV plus usage. So DMV equals to adverse variance of 12,000 plus favorable variance of 8,000 equals to favorable variance of 4,000. Oh, sorry, adverse variance of 4,000. So if you can see that here we were getting adverse variance, and here also we are getting an adverse variance. So now the reason for this usage variance. So the reason may be that we must have used a better quality raw material, which may have resulted in the lesser usage of materials required. So we got our 4 marks. Then moving on to E part, direct labor variance. So for direct labor variance, simply we would find the actual. So the actual labor cost was 342,000, and we budgeted flexed 337,500. 337,500. So going on to here, $337,500. So giving us a variance of 4,500. So is it an adverse or a favorable? See, the actual cost is this and the flexed cost is this. So actual is greater than flexed. So that means adverse. So we have calculated the labor variance. Then the same, explain the reasons for the direct labor variance. So if I would just copy it from here. So see, direct labor variance equals to labor price variance plus labor usage variance. Okay. So labor price variance. Okay. The more authentic name is labor rate variance. You can write it as LRV, labor rate variance. So let's delete it to avoid any confusion. So I will do it from scratch. labor rate variance. So the total cost was $342,000 and we had our labor at 15 per hour. So $15. And how many hours were used in actual 22,000 hours? So if we would calculate it, we would get our answer as $12,000 adverse. Then the reason for it be that labor rate might have increased. So we can say it that the hourly labor rate of laborers may have increased. Then this labor rate variance plus labor efficiency variance. So labor efficiency variance. So how many hours were used in actual? 22,000 hours. These are the actual used. And how many we budgeted? We budgeted 3 hours for 7,500 units. So it would give us 3 equals to 3 into 7,500, 22,500. So minus 22,500 hours. So we budgeted 22,500 hours and actually 22,000 hours were used. So 500 hours saved. So if you would see 500 hours and we budgeted at the rate of $15 per hour. $15 per hour. So equals to 500 into 15. So 7,500. So dollar 7,500 favorable. So now the reason. Okay. Reason would have been that the labor is since saving hours, so the labor is working efficiently, resulting in lesser hours being consumed. Then if we see the breakup of direct labor variance, so an adverse variance of 12,000, I will write in 12,000 adverse variance plus and so let's show the negative and plus 7,500 favorable. So it will give us a variance of $4,500 adverse. If we can see that this is matching exactly this, all our calculations are done right. Then we got our 4 marks. Then moving on to part F, overhead absorption rate. So if we go to the first line, we can see that fixed overheads are absorbed by direct labor hours. How many direct labor hours? 3 hours. How much is the fixed cost? Fixed $18. So overhead absorption rate would be $18 divided by 3 hours equals to $6. per labor hour. Then G, fixed overhead volume variance. So the budgeted units were 8,000, the actual units were 7,500, giving us 500 extra units into the overhead absorption rate, no, into the direct labor hours into the overhead absorption rate. So we would get our answer as $9,000. Adverse. Then moving on to the question part H. N Limited plans to manufacture another product. A director suggests that the company should use active-based costing ABC. However, another director suggests existing cost basis should be retained. The standard cost. Advise the directors whether or not the company should use ABC. So here for answer number H, you can write arguments against and advantages. So against, you can write that it's very costly in analyzing information to prepare the cost basis, and advantages you can write that there will be a better pricing for each product under ABC, and it is a more realistic approach of fixed overhead between various products. So we have solved one question, question number 5 of March 21. So I hope that this lecture was useful for you, and you can revisit my video for the calculations, and further you can see the basic introduction where I have explained the basics regarding the standard costing. So I hope that this was useful for you. Thank you for attending. Allah Hafiz.